It was a momentous year, marked by protests for civil rights, rising opposition to the Vietnam War, and the beginning of the Troubles in Northern Ireland. It was the year that Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
In the technology world, 1968 saw the birth of hypertext and the computer mouse. And at the NATO Software Engineering Conference in Garmisch, Germany, the first ever software engineering conference, the term software crisis was coined to describe the challenges of building computer programs at scale. In over 5 decades since that first software engineering conference, we've seen many innovations come and go. Structured methods, case tools, object-oriented analysis and design, agile methods, and software as a service. These innovations aim to build affordable, safe, secure software at scale. So all the problems of the software crisis have been solved, right? Today, software pervades almost every aspect of society, at a scale that the Garmisch attendees could simply not have imagined. With the rise of artificial intelligence, software is increasingly making decisions for us. And there is a danger that we are handing over to machines decisions on what is fair, equitable, and just. Shouldn't software reflect the society we want to live in? Shouldn't developers be more aware of how their products can have negative societal impacts? Where are the human values in software? Despite over 50 years of software engineering, we still don't know how to build software that embeds human values. Inclusion, diversity, social responsibility, and fairness. Apart from values like safety, security, privacy, and a few others, most human values have simply been ignored by software engineering research. What are human values anyway? The social psychologist Shalom Schwartz introduced the best-known definition of values, his theory of basic human values. Based on extensive research in countries and cultures across the world, his model includes values we normally think of as ethical, equality, inclusion, but also other values that have received little attention in technology fields, tradition, family, as well as values that are more individualistic, hedonism, power, wealth. Schwartz's model provides a taxonomy of well-accepted values, 52 in total, that is a good starting point for thinking how to embed values in software. So how many of these 52 values have been considered by software engineers? Or in other words, to what extent does the software that runs society today actually respect our human values? OVIS team at Monash University has been studying human values in software for the last 3 years. We wanted to know how much software engineering research has even thought about human values. And so, we carried out a study. We read the abstracts of over 1,300 papers published in leading conferences and journals over the last 4 years, and we analyzed which of Schwartz's human values were addressed by the research described in the papers. What we found was shocking. Only 16% of top software engineering research in recent years has even addressed human values. Indeed, if we discount the most common value, security, privacy, we found that only 10% of research has addressed other values. Worse still, 60% of human values have not been addressed by research at all. Those values which have been addressed include privacy, security, equality, creativity, sustainability, and social justice. This is not surprising. Software engineering has given a lot of focus to issues like security, privacy, and accessibility. Some values, however, have received no attention at all. These include respect, freedom, curiosity, beauty, pleasure, self-direction. Our conclusion, which is a disappointing one, is that many of the values that make us human beings are simply ignored when we develop software. Think about that for a moment and ask yourself, could software be designed differently if it considered a broader range of human values? Would it provide a more positive contribution to our society? At the end of the day, the software industry needs to think about what kind of world it wants. What kind of technology does it want its children to be using? Well, okay, you might say. That's research. It's no surprise that research doesn't consider values because it's disconnected from practice anyway. So what did we do? We asked practitioners. The OVIS team carried out 2 in-depth studies with large international software companies. We asked practitioners about their values and how they thought about values when developing software. And what did we find? How much does the software industry care about values? The answer is not much. We found that developers don't think values are their responsibility. There is a wide range of values maturity, ranging from companies that don't think about values at all to those that actually do take them very seriously. Values are typically thought of as a cultural issue, hardly ever a technical one. When values are considered, it is a very small subset, the usual ones of security, privacy, accessibility. In short, the state of practice in industry is that we usually develop software without thinking about the broader implications for society. That's bad for society, and it's bad for software. So how can we change this? The OVIS team has been working with industry to change the way software is developed. The good news? We've discovered that we don't need completely new methods to properly address values. We need evolution rather than a revolution. That's good, because it means we can more quickly change values thinking in industry. We've studied agile methods, and we've identified points where the methods could be adapted to bring in values thinking. We've identified 4 types of intervention points: artifacts, roles, ceremonies, and culture. On artifacts, agile methods such as user stories can easily be adapted to bring in values. We call these values stories. On roles, we identified the need to have a values champion who would be responsible for making sure values are considered. On ceremonies, values should be used in backlog prioritization and should be discussed in retrospectives. On culture, companies should hire staff with their values in mind. By following these adaptations, companies can develop software that is more aware of bad outcomes in society. It's not hard, and it's not expensive, but it is our moral duty. What then is the value of considering values? Why do it if I only care about profit? Apart from the moral obligation, values can give companies a competitive advantage. We already see this with some AI companies actively promoting their responsible tech approach. And that's not to mention the negative financial implications ignoring values can have. Think Volkswagen or Cambridge Analytica. At the end of the day, the software industry needs to think about what kind of world it wants. What kind of technology does it want its children to be using? The OVIS team at Monash University believes that human values can and should be an integral part of all software. If you think so too, come join us.